Let's be honest from the very beginning. Kindness alone isn't enough to survive in this world. If you believe that simply being a good person will guarantee your success, you're living in a fantasy. And deep down, you already know this. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you felt walked over despite doing the right thing? How often have you watched others get ahead by playing the system while you followed the rules? How frequently have you been ignored or even used after extending your kindness to others? From childhood, we've been taught that goodness is enough, that honesty and nobility will be rewarded. But reality tells a different story, doesn't it? The world doesn't automatically reward good people. It rewards those who understand how to play their cards strategically. This is where Machiavelli enters the conversation. In his famous work, The Prince, he understood something that most people prefer to ignore. Human nature is inherently self-interested, often fickle, and when necessary, cruel. He made it crystal clear that virtue without cunning is a weakness, and goodness without strategy is nothing but a trap. I have to ask you, how many times have you fallen into this trap? Look around at the people you admire, those who have achieved great things in their careers, relationships, or personal development. Do you honestly believe they got there solely through good intentions? The uncomfortable truth is that they succeeded because they knew when to operate in the shadows. They understood that morality isn't an obstacle, but a tool. Knowing when to display it and when to keep it private is what separates the players from the pawns in life's grand game. Your problem isn't that you're good. It's that you don't know how to protect yourself. You've been operating under the assumption that everyone plays by the same moral rulebook. They don't. The world is filled with predators disguised as friends and opportunists who can spot naivety from miles away. And without realizing it, you've made yourself the perfect target. But here's where Machiavelli offers you a lifeline. Intelligent kindness. This isn't about becoming the villain in your story. It's not about betraying your principles or core values. It's about understanding that kindness must be paired with a deep awareness of reality, learning to read people, anticipate their intentions, and recognize when to trust and when to keep your guard up. Machiavelli famously wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. What have you chosen in your life? Most likely, you've chosen to be loved, to be accepted, to be seen as harmless and agreeable. But what has that earned you? Not respect, not influence. What it's gained you is the reputation of someone who can be used without consequences. Because kindness without strength doesn't inspire admiration. It often inspires pity, or worse, exploitation. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm urging you to learn how to be good without being naive. The world doesn't reward the just. It rewards the shrewd. True virtue isn't about submission. It's about balancing ethics with pragmatism in a world that rarely plays fair. Machiavelli taught that image is everything. It's not just about who you actually are, but crucially about how others perceive you. If you give the impression of being weak, people will treat you as weak. If you project strength, they'll respond with respect. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you allowed others to disrespect you because you feared losing their approval? How often have you stayed silent to avoid conflict, only to discover that your silence cost you more than speaking up would have? The key isn't becoming cruel, it's becoming strategic. Knowing when to act, when to speak, when to retreat, and when to stand your ground. Kindness is a powerful advantage when used correctly, but when left unchecked, it becomes your greatest vulnerability. The fundamental mistake many good people make is believing the world values purity of heart above all else. It doesn't. The world values power, security, and the ability to make difficult decisions when necessary. Your kindness only receives respect when it's backed by authority. Without power, your kindness becomes irrelevant at best and a liability at worst. Machiavelli would tell you not to be a lamb in a world of wolves, not to let your morality transform you into someone else's stepping stone. True virtue isn't passive submission, it's intelligent action. It's not about adapting to a harsh world, but about strategically shaping your environment to work in your favor. I have to ask, how much longer will you allow the world to walk all over you? How much longer will you remain a victim of your own naivety? Again, I'm not suggesting you abandon goodness. I'm advising you to be good in a way that benefits you first. Learn to move strategically, to know when a warm smile is appropriate and when showing your teeth is necessary. The world isn't fair, but you can learn to navigate by its actual rules while remaining true to your core values. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to teach evil. He wrote it to teach survival in a complex world. And now I ask you, will you continue living under the illusion that kindness alone is enough? Or will you begin applying true intelligence to your interactions? Here's a concept few truly understand. The perception of power is often more important than power itself. It's not enough to be competent. You must appear competent. Intelligence alone isn't sufficient. You need to project that intelligence effectively in this reality we share. Perception often matters more than what's objectively true. Think about it. How many times have you witnessed someone less qualified get promoted over a more talented colleague? How often have you seen manipulators rise while honest, hard-working people remain stuck? This isn't coincidental. People don't automatically follow the good or just. They follow those who appear to be in control. They're drawn to those who manage their image effectively, who project authority, who act as if they have all the answers even when they don't. This is where many good people fail. They believe that truth and competence will speak for themselves, that their work will be recognized without self-promotion. But the world doesn't operate that way. Success doesn't just reward those who are right. It rewards those who know how to sell their version of reality convincingly. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It's not merely about who you are, but about what others believe you to be. Perception shapes everything. An insecure leader won't inspire confidence regardless of their qualifications. A worker who can't make themselves visible will never be promoted, even if they're the most productive team member. Someone who doesn't project value won't be desired, even if they have tremendous worth to offer. The key isn't just in being, it's in mastering the narrative about yourself. Learning to control your image means creating the right impression in every situation. This isn't about deception. It's about directing others' attention toward what you want them to see. Consider this truth. In any social interaction, people don't perceive objective reality. They perceive through filters of assumptions, biases, and emotions. The question you must ask yourself is, are you allowing these filters to work against you, or are you using them strategically to your advantage? If you're good, but appear weak, you'll be treated as weak. If you're just, but seem soft, you'll be trampled. If you're talented, but project insecurity, you'll be overlooked. It's that straightforward. The art of perception is what distinguishes those who control their destiny from those controlled by circumstances, or worse, by others.